Hey guys, so this is going to be my other haunting video, or not haunting, but rather this one is about a possession that I experienced. Now if you're a skeptic, I'm pretty sure the other videos, if you watch them, you're like, oh, that probably didn't happen. This one, you're really probably going to be like, oh, that really didn't happen. And I have my sidekick here, just hanging out and yawning. Okay, well, if anyone is familiar with New Jersey, you may be familiar with Clinton Road if you're into like the whole like weird states kind of thing. Like how they have like weird New Jersey, weird Florida, weird this, weird that. They have like all the states. Um, well, Clinton Road is up there with most of the like weird things, and that face is very weird. Um, I've been there multiple times. Uh, one of the times that I went. Okay, well, if you don't know about Clinton Road, the backstory is that there's a KKK lodge up there, which I have seen the lodge. I'm not sure if it actually has to do with the KKK, or if it's just someone's home, or maybe it's a church, maybe it's just like a random abandoned house, but there is like a large lodge up there. And they have this thing by it called like the hanging tree, where if you're familiar with what the KKK is, then you know what the hanging tree symbolizes. uh, which is told to be right around where the lodge is, and it was. I don't know if it's still there. I don't even know if, like, maybe they changed some things up there, but it was there. There's also a story about Little Boy Bridge, where you throw a quarter or a coin into the lake, and, you're supposed to, I think you're supposed to, like, talk shit or something like that about the little boy, and the quarters come back and are thrown back at your window. Um, and there's a park there. There's like stories about like little African American children being killed in there, like the chains to the. Who is messaging me? I'm trying to make a video. Um, like young African American children being strangled with like the chains to the swing. I couldn't think of the word. There's a lot of locations on this stretch of road. I think it's about 7 miles long. Correct me if I am wrong. But it's about maybe like an hour quarter drive or something like that. And I've been through the whole entire stretch multiple times. Oh, there's also a story of a demon dog that if you get to a certain part of the road and you look in your rearview mirror, you'll see eyes. And a ghost cat that you're supposed to see, which I've seen that cat. But I've done almost all the things, like the Little Boy Bridge. I guess I'll start with that. Little Boy Bridge is about a few miles into the road. They say it's in the middle. It seems more like when you enter the road rather than the middle of the road. It seems more in the beginning than the middle or the end. The first time we went there, nothing happened. A few of us threw some quarters in, just sounded like it hit water. Nothing happened. No coins got thrown back or anything. That was the first time I was there. The this time is actually like a whole bunch of bad shit happened. This is where I saw my friend get possessed. Well, this specific time, we went there. It was me and three of my guy friends. We go up there. There's like a big section right next to the bridge that you can park your car. It's cleared out like of trees and whatnot. So we park the car there. We get out. This part of the road is extremely dangerous because as soon as you, like literally, as soon as you get past this bridge, you hit a super sharp turn. Like, if you are not paying attention, you are going right into a tree. It is so sharp, you must pay attention to the road, or at least know the road, especially if you're going it there at night, or you can get severely hurt or die because these lines are so drastic and sharp and sudden. So we're trying to make sure no cars are coming from either way because it's pitch black up there. It's near the mountains, and a certain part of it is actually up on a mountain. So you really have to be careful up there, whether you're driving, walking, anything. It's just, you have to be super careful. And so we get out of the car, we go to the bridge, and we're standing on the bridge, and we all turn around and go to throw our coins in. and were talking shit about this little boy that supposedly had died there. And we all heard it. I thought I was the only one that heard it at first because I was like, no, that wasn't right. But we all heard it. I threw my quarter in first because my one friend, he didn't want to chance it. He was acting very weird, and this is actually the friend that ended up getting possessed. Hold on a second. Jeez. Hold on, Buttons. Let me answer this person. Look at the doggy. You guys have to see my fat. Hold on, Buttons. Hold on. So, I throw my quarter, and it sounded like it hit concrete. It didn't sound like it hit water. And then my friend threw his in to make sure that we heard what we heard, and it hit concrete. And it was all water there. There was no, like, little stretch of land underneath the water or anything. It was water. And it sounded like we had just thrown it down onto the asphalt. And, we were all like, did we really just hear that? So then all four of us did it. And each time we did it, it sounded like it had hit concrete or asphalt or stone or something. It did not sound like it hit water. So, anyway. So, we're all looking really confused, and you can tell that a few of us are starting to get a little spooked. I was kind of spooked because there was all water there. It really shouldn't have hit concrete or stone or whatever it hit. So, we do it a few more times to make sure that, we're all hearing what we're hearing. And then I'd say about, like, the 6th or 7th piece of change, or whatever you want to call it. Piece of change. I'm just going to go with piece of change. That we threw in, it sounded like it hit water again. Okay, hold on. You gotta shut up. You gotta shut up, guy. I'm making a video. It sounded like it hit water. So, we're like, okay, now it's hitting water. We were all really, really spooked at this point, and, we decided to adjourn back to the car. So, we're continuing down the road, and we had, we had gotten high before we went on the road, but it wasn't anything really, really strong, and if I was sobering up at this point, the guys were definitely sobering up at this point because they were much larger than me, and we all had about the same amount. So, we were all pretty much sober. I wasn't really, really high anymore. I got feeling back. I didn't feel like that weird, woo, dreamy kind of state that you get into. So I was pretty much back to normal at this point. And, we continued down the road. Now, again, this road is rumored to be, like, KKK territory. There's a Kmart all the way at the end of the road. I think it's a Kmart or Pathmark, something like that, at the end of the road. And we stop in there, and my friend decides to ask the people. This is where I really think it was confirmed that there are really people living there that have to do with the KKK, because their reaction, I promise you, I'm not making this up. This is exactly what the lady said, and there was another lady and a guy standing next to her that all worked there. And I had walked out because the faces that they gave my friend. My friend was like 400 pounds, like 6 foot something. Like, he was a big motherfucker, so I really don't think he had anything to worry about with these ladies. The guy wasn't really that big either, but it was still the way they reacted. My friend was like, do you guys know how to get back to Newark? We only bought, like, a few drinks and, like, a cookies and cream candy bar. And the reason he did that was because he wanted to try it. And I was like, please, please don't, because if it's true, I don't want to die. So he does it anyway, and the lady, as she's checking out the few drinks in the candy bar, that's when he asks. And the lady goes, why would you want to go back there? There's nothing but N-words there. I'm not going to say the word. And my friend was like, oh, well, we live there. And the lady looks at me, and I'm just like, oh, fuck. So I start walking out, and the other lady has, like, her hand on her hip, and she's, like, sitting there staring at him. And the guy's, like, looking at him all evilly. And she's like, well, I don't know how to get back there. I don't go around those parts. I like stick into the white areas. I swear I'm not kidding you. I promise this is what they said. And then they kept talking, but I walked out and I walked back to the car because they started getting, their voice started getting really aggressive and stuff. So he comes back to the car. My one friend had went in because he didn't believe me. He went in. This same friend ran out of I think it was a Pathmark. I really can't remember if it was a Pathmark or a Kmart. He runs out, runs back to the car. The big dude is like behind him and laughing, and he jumps into the car, and I'm like, so what happened? And he was like, this big guy came out of the office and like started questioning us, and they were all really, really mad, so I just ran out. My other friend's like, oh, that was funny. I was like, can we please just get out of here and start going back home? We have to go through the whole entire road again to get back onto the parkway that brings us back to where we were living at the time. So we go back, and I don't know what possessed my friend to do this. That too. He pulls over right where, when it leads down to the park, there's like another open part of the road there that you can like park your car and whatnot. He parks there. This is a very, very old car my friend was driving, and it didn't have the thing where you can like lock all the windows in the car, and it didn't have autopilot. It was a very, very old car, and I can tell you for a fact this car did not have autopilot. I was sitting in the front seat. There was nothing there. The car would be driving by itself and going along with the curves in the road. I know this all sounds super crazy, but I swear this is what happened. So he pulls over to the side of the road, and as a joke, he decides to put down all four windows. And we are right next to the roads. Some of the signs there have blood on them. I've seen dead animals hanging from trees. There's another story of like this truck that hangs out on the side of the road and will follow people that has anyone that isn't white in the car, and they will beat the hell out of that person in the car. But if you're white, they'll leave you alone. We're looking out for that truck because we, not this time, but at one point had been followed by that truck that was just, it was chilling on the side of the road, no lights on or anything. And it was like an old pickup truck with like a whole bunch of wood and like supplies and tools in the back of the truck. We'd been followed by it before with a friend in the car who was Dominican, so he was like a really, really dark-skinned Dominican. I said that kind of weird. I know light-skinned Dominicans do, that's why I said it that way. So we're looking out for this truck, we're looking in the woods, and all of a sudden, like, it was like I could see people running through the trees. Like, as if there was, like, a light behind it, and I could just see people running through the trees. Like, kind of like maybe tribal. Like, tribal people running through the trees. And, like, we all heard, like, a wolf out of nowhere. We were in the woods, so I kind of, like, debunked the whole wolf thing. Like, okay, we're in the woods. There could be wolves up here. But seeing those people run through, it wasn't like this bright, bright light behind them, and I see, like, all these people running through. No, it wasn't like that. But it was just, like, I could see, like, I guess, shadows and, like, a very, very faint light behind them, enough for me to see the shadows running through the trees. I start freaking out, and I turn to him. I'm like, Sean, please roll up the windows. Please drive. Please do something. I do not want to be here. I'm getting scared. Then the two friends that are in the back seat, my one friend, we call them Caballo, starts acting really, really weird. And all three of us are like, dude, Caballo, what's wrong? And his eyes are like literally rolling in the back of his head. His lips were turning purple. He was turning really pale, but he didn't have like a rapid heartbeat or anything. He was still breathing. His breathing didn't like fasten, what the fuck is the word? Another word for like getting faster. I can't think of it. I guess become more rapid. It didn't decrease. It didn't increase. There you go. I'm petting your tummy. It was just like physically he just like started like looking really weird. And sorry, I just had dinner before, so I'm like burping dinner. And the other dude that we had in the back, his name was Bruno. He starts getting really pale, and he was dark. He wasn't like black, like he wasn't like black, but he was like a caramelish brown color, and he started getting pale. And Sean, the driver, like, seemed like kind of zonked, seemed kind of like out of that. I couldn't get his attention. He didn't blink, he wasn't blinking, he was just sitting there like this. And I couldn't get his attention. So everyone in the car is like freaking out. And one eye just like went retarded. And I'm trying to like get get someone's attention. Like, somebody wake up, somebody say something. So Sean comes to. He was like drooling and like really, really weird. It took his eyes like a few seconds to like reconnect with his body. Um, and he had no idea what was going on. And we're all, me and Bruno, because Bruno was there, he was just really, really scared. We're trying to roll up the windows. And Sean's hands hadn't moved from when he put the window down. Because I saw where he was pressing, and like I said, there was no like locking mechanism to lock all the windows on this car. None of the windows would go up. Even my button seemed kind of stuck. Like, it was pressing, but it didn't feel like it was pressing all the way as to where I normally do it. And then when it did do it, the window still wasn't rolling up. And Bruno's was doing the same thing, and Bruno was freaking the fuck out. Like, I don't think he was acting in any way, shape, or form, because he was freaking the fuck out. And then Caballo is in the back, like, gone. Like, his eyes were rolled back and everything, and I'm like, Sean, we have to get him to a hospital now, because there is something wrong. So then the car wouldn't start. He turned the car on and it wouldn't start. Like, he goes to turn the key, it's like, grr, 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 grr. So the car isn't starting. I am freaking out. I still have the window open. I am right next to these woods where I had seen these shadows run through. This random wolf decides to howl as I see this. I'm freaking out that a physical wolf is gonna pop out and like attack us. So I put my foot on the gas because I'm sitting in the passenger seat. I reach my foot over and I stomp on it. And then as he's turning the key, it goes, and then it turns back on. So I'm like, Sean, we gotta go. Now, we have to get him to a hospital. We just gotta get out of this area. So he goes and starts driving, and then he took his hands off the wheel for like 1 second, and then noticed something. He was like, why is the car still going with the road? And it was, like, we're hitting like all these winds and turns, and it was still going with it. The car didn't have autopilot on it. And like, he's still like holding down the gas and everything. Then he takes his foot off the gas, and the car's still going. It's not going as fast as it was. Now, bear in mind, we weren't going downhill. We were on a flat road, so it could probably hold substance to keep going for a while, but not as long as it was going. It wasn't slowing down. It wasn't speeding up, but it was staying at like one pace. And then we heard like a kind of light click noise, and we were able to roll the windows back up. And Sean didn't touch anything. So we roll the windows up, then the car slows down and stops because his foot's off the gas. He hits it, the car starts going again. The car starts acting normal after we got past a certain point. It was about a mile after the park, then the car started like working normally again. But Caballo just starts talking, and he starts like talking about a son, like a mom talking to a son. He goes, oh, well, I love you, my child, and blah, blah, like, just, like, we don't even know what he was talking about, to be honest. And I was trying to talk back to him, like, who were you talking to? And he said a name. I don't remember the name, though. But it was like I said, it was like a mother talking to, like, her son. But he was answering me as if I was that son. And his lips were still purple, his skin was still really pale, and his eyes were still rolled back. And I'm freaking out, because this kid's, like, at this point, this kid was, like, my brother. And, so I go to switch places with Bruno while Sean is driving, and I'm like, Bruno, switch places with me. I want to sit back there with Caballo. So Bruno moves to the front, and then the whole car just starts smelling like shit. We're convinced that Bruno shit himself, because the whole car smelled like shit. And, so I'm back there, and I'm, like, cuddling him. I'm, like, trying to, like, warm him up, because he got really, really cold, but he was talking, so he wasn't dead. So I'm, like, rubbing him, and we're trying to leave the road as fast as possible to try to get him to a hospital. And then he starts warming up again. His lips start turning pink. His eyes come back. This was literally right after we got off the road, too. During the whole time we're on the road, he's this way, and then as soon as we get off the road, he comes back like nothing ever happened, like he's perfectly normal and normally colored again, you know, pink lips, pink cheeks, not necessarily as pale as me, but, you know, he was his normal color again. I'm just always pale, so everyone probably won't even know when I'm dead, because I'm so white. And he didn't remember a thing. Did not remember a thing. And I didn't want to point it out at this point because we're all like worried about what's going on. But we had passed a sign. There's a lot of signs with blood on them, like as if someone like just like was like trying to hold on to it, or like it looks like blood splatters. One of the signs that had blood on them, I saw what everyone is to say is like Clinton Road's main ghost cat that everyone sees. And as described, this is the cat that I saw. It's like a dark colored cat that's fuzzy with green eyes, and he'll just like appear. He won't come into your car or anything, but he'll appear just in certain spots. Like if you keep going, you'll just see cat, 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 cat. But that's about it when it comes to the cat. So I had saw the cat, but I was really worried about Caballo, really worried about what was going on. So I didn't point it out. I just let it go. But another time we went down the road with other people, and me and an ex of mine saw the cat, like at the same time. Um, I'm not sure if Sean was possessed too, but I definitely know Caballo was possessed by something. It just, luckily, it didn't last past the road, and he didn't remember a thing after he came to. So that's my story about Clinton Road. One of the stories. I have plenty of them from Clinton Road, so maybe I'll share some more of those too, because they are pretty interesting. At the time, they were all really, really scary and stuff, but thinking back now, I'm like, those were some pretty good ghost stories. You know, that's like the bottom of my ribcage right here, and just like, squishes, right there. But, I'll definitely share some more Clinton Road stories with you guys if you want. I swear everything I just told you guys was 100% true. I was 100% sober by this point. I was sober right pretty much as we were leaving the parking lot from the Kmart, Pathmark, wherever we were. I was fully sobered up by then, and I hadn't touched any more weed the whole entire trip, because we got to like maybe around like the middle-ish of the road when the atmosphere turned weird, and the last thing on my head was, or the last thing on my mind was that I wanted to smoke, and we were gonna actually stop and smoke. When we stopped by the park, we were gonna stop and smoke, but that's when all the other shit started happening. So no one touched any other drug in the car the whole entire time we were there. Besides, before we even got to the road, and like I said, everyone else had to have been sober by then, because I was perfectly fine, and we all had about the same amount. So both, yeah, that's my Clinton Road story, and now I have to bring my doggy out, and I'm gonna turn on the AC, and I'm gonna sit here and play some Forsaken World. And my dog's gonna roll over. Come on, baby. So, yeah, subscribe if you like it, and I'll definitely be doing more paranormal ghosty stories. And if this is your first time on the channel, this is Buttons, my chihuahua. Say hi, Buttons. And, yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope like some of you guys to subscribe. My dog's the bombs. Hey. Bye, guys.